All right. Welcome, everybody. I see that a lot of people have signed in for this webinar. I'm very, very excited. My name is Anne, and I want to welcome you to this Tilburg University live webinar. And I want to introduce two very important people who are here today. Let's start with Elida.
Hi, I'm Elida. I'm a student at Tilburg University. I study psychology. I'm a bachelor student. And yeah, nice to meet you.
Elida, can you say something in Turkish for the audience so they know where you're from and a bit of your background?
Of course. Ben İstanbul'dan buraya geldim. Sev Amerikan Koleji'nden mezunum. Hepinizle tanıştığıma çok memnun oldum.
All right. And then we have our partner Berk.
Merhabalar herkese. Berk benim ismim. ISES Turkey Yurtdışı Eğitim Danışmanlık firmasından katılıyorum bu webinara. Tilburg Üniversitesi'nin partnerlerinden biriyiz. I think I should go Turkish, right? Is it okay with you guys? Okay. Yani hem buradaki danışmanlık hizmetleri hem Tilburg Üniversitesi ile alakalı veya Hollanda ile ilgili yaşamsal, konaklama, vize gibi konularla da ilgileniyoruz. İlerleyen süreçte gerek başvurularınız gerek yaşamsal hazırlıklar bu üniversiteye olan süreçlerinizde bizlerden destek alabiliyorsunuz. Ücretsiz olarak bu hizmetleri Tilburg'un partneri olduğunuz için bizden alabiliyorsunuz. I'm done.
Okay, yes, I assumed it sounded from your intonation that was the end. I'm sure that you got it from this story that I don't really speak Dutch very well, or Turkish very well, not beyond teşekkürler. But we have two Turkish speakers here today. So if you do have questions in Turkish or you prefer to hear an answer in Turkish, please let us know. They're happy to do that. We don't have a lot of time and we have a lot of material to cover. So I'm just going to dive right in. I do want to let you know that probably you figured it out already, but on the right side you have a chat. You also have the possibility to ask questions, which we can then answer in line or live. So if you have a concrete question, please post it there and try to be specific. So let me know if it's for a master or a bachelor, for example, so that we can also give a specific answer as much as possible. If you ask really specific, detailed questions, of course, we won't be able to handle them, but it's nice to know which realm you're in. And there's also a poll there. We're actually curious if you are interested in a bachelor or a master. So if you could answer that poll there, that would be great for us to know as well. Meanwhile, feel free to post your questions in the chat or in the question box while we are presenting. That's not a problem, and we'll take some pauses here and there to try to answer them. So let's get started. We have a lot of material to cover. First and foremost, I'm going to show you what we're going to be talking about. I'll introduce you to the Netherlands. Then I'll talk about Tilburg University and our different programs. I'll give a broad introduction of the bachelor's and master's programs. Then I'll talk about the admission and application really briefly. I'll talk about the cost, and then we hopefully have some time for questions. But let's go ahead. So first and foremost, why would you consider the Netherlands? You already came to this webinar, so I hope that means you're already interested in the Netherlands. Maybe you've visited, or maybe you've already started thinking about the idea of coming to the Netherlands for a while. But let me list some of the reasons. Actually, before I do that, I want to ask Elida why she chose the Netherlands. Can you share that with the audience?
Yes, of course I can. I chose the Netherlands because it's a very practically smaller country compared to Turkey, of course, located in Europe. So there is lots of opportunities because of that. And I think it is a very peaceful environment. And the education is very high quality. And that's why I chose the Netherlands.
Sorry, I just saw someone saying they cannot hear our voice, so that's why I was responding in the chat. I can hear you just fine, so I hope that most people can hear us. Thank you for sharing why you came to the Netherlands. I have some other reasons on this slide as well. Let me just select it. So first and foremost, there's lots of programs in English. If you've done some research, you probably already found out that there are a lot of opportunities in English in the Netherlands. So even though our native language is not English, we believe that English is the language of business and science. So it is important to teach in that language. In fact, some students actually complain that they come to the Netherlands and they don't even get to learn any Dutch because everybody constantly speaks English to them. And it's not just in the programs, it's also on the street. My parents are close to their 70s now, and they're able to speak English quite well, so it's very easy to get around with English. Then you see the two tiles in the middle. The Netherlands is a really bustling economy. We've got lots of international companies here. And a lot of them are able to hire students or hire employees also who don't speak any Dutch. Brexit also had a kind of positive effect for us so far, because a lot of companies are moving from London to the Netherlands as well. And you see at the bottom also the same tile that we have a very highly educated workforce. So that's something that really belongs to our style of economy. So we are really looking for international talent who can join that. Our education system in the top right also kind of links to that. The Netherlands has a very highly rated education system. We belong to the top 2% of university systems in the world when you look at international rankings. So rankings like the Times Higher Education, you'll find that all of the Dutch research universities belong to the top 250. So the system as a whole is really highly regarded, and it's really highly standardized. We've got a national accreditation body that accredits all these different universities, and we all have to meet the same quality standards. So in the Netherlands, you can really be qualified that you get a good education. It's also important to note that compared to some of our bigger competitors, like the United States, for example, you can get a good value for money. I'll talk about the actual fees in a little bit, but most of the universities in the Netherlands are not for profit. We are public universities. So even though, of course, education is expensive, we really try not to charge you any more than we need to. So we are a lot more affordable than the United States or the UK. And on top of that, it's a very safe country as well. We're also constantly very highly rated in International Index for Happiness. So it's a pretty happy, pretty flat, pretty safe and small country. So I guess that kind of links to what Elida was saying as well. I still see that some people cannot hear us. Try to maybe rejoin the session and then hopefully it works. It might also be that you've muted your tab. So hopefully you'll be able to join because I think the majority of people can hear us. What's important to know about the Netherlands is that we have a very highly standardized university system, and we make a clear distinction between universities of applied sciences and research universities. Research universities on the right are the traditional academic universities. You guys also have a few of them. For example, BOSG is also a research university where there are academics who Good, I'm glad you can hear me, Mohammed. Where there are academics who conduct their own scientific research, so that's also where some discoveries are really being made, and they bring that academic research into the classroom. So you learn the foundations of academic research, and you also learn how to then apply that in real life. The research university bachelor degrees are 3 years in length, and they are often followed by a master degree. Most of our master's degrees in Tilburg are 1 year in length because they're in the field of social sciences and communication, but there are also some 2-year master's degrees, for example, the ones in engineering. It is pretty common for Dutch people to do a master degree afterwards. So if you're looking for a job in the Netherlands, it helps that you have a master's degree. On the other side, and this is mostly important for those of you who are interested in a bachelor, there's the University of Applied Sciences. And the name already kind of says it. In a University of Applied Sciences, you learn how to apply your knowledge. There are specific degrees such as nursing, physiotherapy, elementary school teaching, dance, fine art. All of those are typical University of Applied Sciences degrees. It's basically where you directly are prepping for the labor market, and they tend to include an internship as well. For that reason, they're also 4 years in length. So it's a more practical style of learning, and the material is spread out over more years. What's good to note is that most students enter the labor market directly, but some universities of applied sciences also offer master's degrees, which are more practical. So students who graduate from a University of Applied Sciences, if they want to go to a master at a research university, they often have to do a foundation year. So keep that in mind as well. I hope that explains it. Elida, can you tell me why you chose a research university?
I chose a research university as I need one for, I need to go to research university for my career choice, which is clinical psychology. It involves research as well. That is the main reason that I chose the research university over an applied sciences.
Yeah, I think in your field it makes complete sense. Thank you. There are some degrees that are offered at both levels, for example, a bachelor in business or communication, and also some engineering. So it is important to be aware of the distinction. But luckily, our partner, Berg, if you chose to get some advice from them, they can also guide you through this and explain better and find the right fit for you. Right. Let's continue. Now, that was the Netherlands in a nutshell. I wanted to explain the key things that you need to know in order to understand our university system better. And I'm now going to continue by talking about Tilburg University. So you can see on this map that Tilburg is located in the south of the Netherlands. We are about an hour and a half south of Amsterdam. We're also very close to Eindhoven, where all the cheap flights are. It's a really small airport, and also quite close to Belgium. In general, it's a very small country. But Tilburg is also part of what we call the Brainport region. And this is basically like the Silicon Valley of Europe. So in the Brainport region, there's a lot of technological innovation and development going on. And there are a lot of high-tech companies who are looking for talent, especially talent from abroad. So it might be very interesting for you to be aware of this, especially, again, if you're thinking about staying after graduation. You can also see on this map that it's very easy to travel to other cities, although right now we don't travel that much. Hopefully that will all come back, and then you can spend, a weekend in London or take a train to Berlin or something like that. I see that there are lots of questions coming in. I cannot keep up with them at the moment. For those of you who have read the questions, is there anything you believe I should answer live or that you want to answer live, Berg?
So I'm
Yes.
trying my best to answer all of them in a written format while you're presenting. But after the same webinar, if we have time, we can answer them maybe face to face like that. You can also answer some of them. But after the webinar, we can also I can share my email address and my mobile address so that you can reach us directly for your questions and for more detailed, elaborated information.
Yeah, perfect. Fantastic. Thank you. Let's go to the next one. Tilburg University is located in the city of Tilburg, and Tilburg has 200,000 inhabitants, which sounds really small, especially if you're based in Istanbul or Ankara. I can imagine it sounds really small, but you have to think on a Dutch scale. We are a country that is roughly the size of London City, but we've got lots of cities scattered all around the country. And what's really nice about the Netherlands is that companies and businesses are also scattered around the country. So nothing is all concentrated into the capital, but everything is actually really nicely spread. There are plenty of cities of this size in the Netherlands. And as a reference, Amsterdam only has, I think, 900,000 inhabitants. So even Amsterdam is quite small. So this gives you a bit of an idea of the scale in the Netherlands. What's also nice is that 28,000 of the people in Tilburg are students. So it's really a student city. Of course, this picture is from our introduction week last year. This year, we had to adapt a little bit. But we did our best to make sure that students could benefit from the introduction online and get to know each other via all these virtual activities. In addition, we also had some on-campus activities, and I think the next slide will tell you a little bit more, because I'm sure you are wondering what to expect with COVID and your study plans in the future. So first and foremost, we have a national organization, and they manage, basically they keep track of the situation. So they keep track of all the COVID cases and the beds in the ICU. So we have to follow their guidelines, which means that at the moment we can only offer very limited activities on campus. We are offering our degrees online at the moment. So students who were not able to travel to the Netherlands were able to follow their courses from home. So we do have quite a few Turkish students who are sitting in Istanbul but following education in Tilburg. But of course, we want to go back to on-campus as soon as possible, because this is, of course, beneficial. We don't know yet what the spring semester is going to look like, but we expect to have a decision within a few weeks. So if you are applying for the spring intake, then that might impact you. So keep an eye on your mailbox in that case. Ilayda, what's it like to study like this? Because you did 1 year normal and now you're suddenly in this situation.
Well, it is actually quite different, and I must say that it is a little bit more difficult than being on campus. However, there's also positives to that, because we can rewatch lectures anytime we want, and obviously you can watch lectures at your own pace, which is a great advantage to have with exams coming up as well. So that's a positive side of being online.
Yeah, you can probably even rewatch the ones that you found difficult.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That would be statistics for me.
Same here.
All right, let's move on. So Tilburg University was founded as a business school in 1927. So we are about 90 years old now. We are very well known for business and economics, but we offer more fields than that, which I'll get to in a little bit. But we are definitely specialized. We have 6 different faculties and we're all located on one compact campus. Unfortunately, we cannot show it to you right now, but you can get an idea of it by looking at the slides. We've posted lots of different pictures from the campus as backgrounds in our presentation to give you a feeling. What's also really nice is that we have a medium-sized university, so 17,500 students is of course a lot, but a lot of them come from abroad, so it's a very international environment, and I think that creates a really nice vibe, which again we're trying to continue online now as much as possible. What's also nice to know is that our motto is understanding society. So in our degrees, we try to really hook up with current events and we try to go beyond just teaching you knowledge from books. So we really try to also develop your skills and to focus on your character development, meaning that we want to teach you a little bit of ethics and a little bit of focus on how you can give back to society or at least reflect on the world around you in a critical way. We do that by giving every student at least one philosophy course. On top of that, we also have mentor groups where you are together, where there's a lot of integration and discussions together. So hopefully the understanding society perspective comes through in that way. I'm just going to continue because we have a lot to cover. These are Tilburg University schools. So I mentioned already economics and management, but as you can see here, we also have a law school. We have a school of social and behavioral sciences where Elida is currently a student. Then we have a school of humanities and digital sciences, which is actually quite a unique combination. So in that school, you'll find things like communication and culture, but also digital sciences, cognitive sciences, and artificial intelligence. So very interesting, top-notch school. And then we have our School of Theology, focused on Christian theology, and the Academy of Data Science, which is a joint initiative with Eindhoven University of Technology. Now, I want to delve a little bit into the international environment. I already mentioned it in the previous slide, but I want to give you an idea of where the students at Tilburg University come from. And you see that Turkey is actually very well represented. Last year, this is from last year because we don't have the latest numbers yet, you were our 6th largest nationality. Elida, do you have any Turkish students or do you mostly hang out with people from different countries? Or Turkish friends?
I have quite a lot of Turkish friends, quite some Dutch friends, and quite some German friends, actually, as they are the most common international people that are found in the university. I do have also friends from other countries, such as India.
Nice. Yeah, actually, it's maybe good to mention because Elida is studying psychology. Psychology is a very popular topic among German students. So she will have a proportionally larger amount of German students in her course than in other programs. But in general, we see that it's a very nice mix. So the idea is that you don't only stick with the Turkish people, even though they are there, but that you also mix with people from different countries. And you see here that we have more than 3,000 international students. Now, of course, out of those 17,000, they are really concentrated in the international program. So in an international bachelor or master program, you will have somewhere between 30 and 60% international students in your international program. Now, this is a great opportunity to ask Elida why she chose Tilburg University. I'm really curious.
I chose Tilburg University because it had a great option to personalize my bachelor's program by choosing a major and a minor combination, which are quite unique as the school also has forensic psychology, for example. And that was my main reason for choosing Tilburg University. Other than that, one of my biggest reasons was also the city. As I'm coming from Istanbul, I wanted a more peaceful environment and a more quiet environment. And I wanted to see trees around. So I think that Tilburg was a great choice as it's a very green and very calm city.
That's excellent. I love how you're saying what a lot of students say who come from bigger or bustling cities. A lot of Chinese students also say, "Oh my God, it's so quiet here." And we're like, well, this is the city. Like, this is nothing like the small town. So but it's very cute. It's really nice also from your story. This is what I hear a lot when I speak to different students. They're often drawn to a specific program. So I do really encourage you to get to know more about your specific field or your program of interest so that you can figure out more basically whether that has what you are looking for. For example, we have quite a few degrees that are unique. Sometimes we have opportunities for you to specialize. I'll talk about some of the specialization options in the master as well. So that can really be something that stands out to you. Other than that, the campus is a really big draw for students. Also, our strong focus on global issues, or our Understanding Society motto, really draws a lot of students. It's nice to know that you can also do stuff besides your studies. Elida, are you involved in anything besides studying?
Yes, I am. I'm actually a board member of the TSTV Saltare Gymnastics Association at Tilburg University. And yeah, I train 3 times a week with the association, and it's a lot of fun. And I can say that for most sports associations as well, that it's a very great community, and I've made a lot of friends that way.
This is so typical of you, of Turkish people, because every Turkish person I've met, they're always really active. They're somehow always doing dance at a high level or swimming. And I didn't even know you did gymnastics. So this is really cool to hear. So yeah, there's that. And there's also other activities. So you can become, for example, an advisory member to the board of your program or to the faculty. You can join student associations and organize events or trips. You can also join study organizations, which are a bit more linked to your program. There's social organizations, so there's a lot for you to do. I also want to highlight that we have quite a bit of support. Every program has an academic advisor who you can turn to with questions. So if you are struggling with something, if you're lagging behind, or if you have a choice to make with regards to a minor or major, for example, they can give you guidance. And finally, the extra facilities. We have a language center where every student receives 2 vouchers with which they can take 2 language courses for free. There's a career center which offers workshops and training sessions, things like how to pimp your LinkedIn profile, for example. Which you can make use of to prepare you for the labor market a bit. And of course, the sports center, Elida already mentioned it, for I think 130 euros per year. So that's a little bit more than 10 euros per month. You can do anything ranging from, fitness to soccer to racquetball. I'm using all the American terms: football, squash, yoga, even pole dancing. So there's lots of stuff to do besides your studies as well. Now, I don't really read Turkish, but I see that a lot of questions are really quite specific. And I think a lot of you are asking about specific programs as well. So, I see Elida wants to say something. Go ahead.
Before we move on to the next section, I also wanted to add that IESN is a very great opportunity for international students, as it's the International Student Association. And it's a very, very great way to make students like friends from all across the world. So yeah, that's a great association as well.
That's a good addition. Thank you. Awesome. Now, I want to show you a map of, when I click, I lose the connection to the slides. We have a lot of partners across the world, and a lot of those partnerships are in place so that you can go on exchange. So in your bachelor, you can go on exchange. In the master, there are some possibilities to do a dual degree, for example. But these partners are also strategic partners. And I wanted to show you to give you an idea of kind of how we compare to some other universities. As you can see, we have partners all around the world. And in the bachelor, it's very popular for students to go on exchange, especially to Asia at the moment. But the US, of course, is also quite popular, but we have plenty of choices within Europe. And this is just to give you an idea of some of our partners. We have more than 250, so this is just a very small overview, but it gives you an idea of some of the possibilities out there. I already mentioned Boğaziçi University. It is one of our partners, but as a Turkish student, you wouldn't be allowed to go on exchange there because you have to go somewhere else. That's the rule. Berk.
Thank you very much. For students, please just tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I believe, as far as I know, if your university in Turkey is Boğaziçi, Bilkent, Koç, and I think there should be one more. I want to say Özyeğin. So these are 4 universities who have agreements directly with Tilburg University, and as far as I know and researched before and talked to Fernanda, I believe if you are from these universities, you will have 25% tuition discount on your master's degree applications. And if your master's degree requires GRE or GMAT as a prerequisite, you will have the chance to waive it in your application. Forgive me if I'm wrong, Anne.
This is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have a slide about it at the end, so then you can see the actual partners in Turkey and you know exactly which ones they are, because it has to match by the faculty as well. But this is a very good addition. Thank you, Berk. This is indeed very attractive for students. So that's about the partners. Let me move on because time is flying like crazy. I want to show you an overview of some of our rankings. Of course, rankings, you can have discussions about how valid they are, but we are, of course, pretty proud because we do very well, especially in the specialized rankings. Rankings mostly say something about our research quality, so how well our academics are quoted. It also looks at certain facilities. And of course, because we are a specialized university, we don't have any engineering or medical facilities. We lose a bit in the overall rankings, but you can see that in the fields where we are active, we do very, very well. So you can really get a top class education in the Netherlands at Tilburg University in these fields. I've also listed some of our accreditations on the slide to give you some peace of mind. It is important to talk about housing for a little bit. In the Netherlands, usually housing is not included with the university, so you have to look for housing yourself. However, we do work with the housing agency who has a building called Talent Square right next to Central Station, where most of our international students live, and that's offered to all of our applicants. In addition to that, we also have a housing officer who can help you get on your way as well. But I want to ask Elida how she found housing from Turkey.
So I started looking very early as getting my conditional acceptance. I started researching what kind of options there are, the private market, student housing such as Cobham Campus and Talent Square, and Student Housing Holland. So after I did get my actual acceptance for sure, then I immediately started to try to get a room somewhere in one of the student housings. So I found Cobham Campus, and it's very possible to find good housing if you look early on, but it's important to start early.
I think that's some solid advice. And if you want to get oriented already, you can have a look at tilburguniversity.edu/accommodation. It's listed on this slide to give you an idea of what the housing market looks like. Of course, compared to Amsterdam, it's easier to find housing in Tilburg and it's also more affordable, but you do have to take it seriously. So this is a little bit of a warning, let's say. Now, next, I want to talk about the programs. I'm not going to be able to delve into all of them because we have so many, but I want to give you an overview. So for the bachelor's programs, again, they are fully taught in English. I think that was clear already. And it's good to know that we have, in general, quite small class sizes. So most of our programs have less than 100 students. There are two exceptions, our business bachelor program and the psychology bachelor program. Those are very big, but you also have a mix of tutorials then with lectures. So it's not all the big lecture rooms. It's also a combination of smaller scale tutorials and work groups. How are you finding that, Elida?
I find the balance pretty great because I like sitting alone in a lecture hall and taking notes and learning the material, but it's also great to discuss it with a small group of students and a teacher that can attend to your personal questions in order to deepen the understanding and actually apply what you understood in the theoretical sense.
All right, thank you. It's always good to hear the first-hand experience, I say, because it's been a while since I graduated, so it's always nice to know how they do it now. I think that's enough about this slide. I just want to give you an overview of all of our bachelor's programs, which is also, of course, available on our website, but not so beautifully as I made this slide. And I kind of grouped them by field roughly. It's not a perfect grouping, but you can see that we have programs in the field of business and economics. We have the more quantitative programs in the middle. So cognitive science and artificial intelligence, a really unique program where we look at human-computer interaction. So how the brain works, but also some computer programming. There's the data science program, which is a joint degree with Eindhoven University of Technology. So you'll receive a diploma from both. And there's the Bachelor in Econometrics and Operations Research, which is like an applied maths program. And I know you guys in Turkey tend to be quite good at math. So if you are good at math and you like it, you should consider this one because the job perspectives are amazing. On the right, it's kind of a mixed bag. You see the Global Law Program, which is a transnational law program where you learn about the big legal systems in the world. Then we have the Culture Studies program, which looks at like culture, online behavior, Twitter, etc., and the Bachelor in Theology. At the bottom, you see the Social Sciences programs, of which Elida is studying psychology. I also want to highlight that we are the only university in the Netherlands that has a Human Resources Studies Bachelor at research university level. So if you're interested in human resources, you might want to consider this one, because it's a really great way, if you have a passion for human resources, to just delve in right away from the bachelor. And we have our university college on the bottom right, where you combine different fields. So in the university college, you can kind of tailor make your own program. So you can take some law, social sciences, humanities, and business. And then in the second year, you specialize. So that's really nice for students who have a broad interest. I kind of skipped over the top box, the business, entrepreneurship, and economics, but I want to say a couple of things about it. Our International Business Administration program is a really solid program, which we've been running for years, where you learn all the basics of business. So marketing, management, accountancy, and finance. And you can then specialize towards the third year in one of those 4 areas. So if you're more interested in marketing, it's a really great foundation, and then to specialize towards your third year and your master. The entrepreneurship program is brand new. It started this September, and it's a really exciting one because it's focused on business innovation. So innovation in business, as well as maybe starting your own business. It has some links with the business program because, of course, it also focuses on accountancy, finance, but more focused on small businesses. And the economics program is the only one in the Netherlands where you can study pure economics. So it's focused on macro, micro. You look at economic trends, things like what is the effect of the changing currency of the Turkish lira versus the euro, and how does that affect countries. And it's the only one in the Netherlands that you can study economics without business mixed in. So for those of you who are interested in those fields, I do encourage you to check it out. I always want to skip over them quickly, but I'm so passionate about these bachelor's programs that I just have to give you an explanation. Elida, is there anything you want to add that I forgot to say, or does this cover it?
I think this covers about all, yes. I would just like to add that also for psychology, forensic psychology is a very rare subject to find as a bachelor. So that's also pretty unique in Tilburg University as far as I am aware.
Cool. Yeah, and we have 2 more majors that are unique, economic psychology and I think medical.
Yes, economic and medical as well.
Yeah. So for those of you who are interested in psychology and in specializing, make use of this knowledge. Now we're going to the master. I saw that a lot of you are interested in a master. So I want to delve into that a little bit as well. We have, in general, 1-year master programs. We only have a few exceptions. We have some extra programs like extended master, double degree, in which case it takes longer. The research master is a 2-year program, which is kind of preparatory for a PhD. So if you're thinking about doing a PhD, I would really recommend to look at the research master. The research master are really selective, and they also include a scholarship for top students. So that could be interesting for those of you who are thinking about joining the research path. And we have a couple of master programs which are more technical, and they are 2 years in length. I'm going to kind of show you what we have on offer within the different fields. Within the field of business and management, of course, we have a very wide choice because this is our biggest and oldest school. I just want to highlight a few of the really popular ones. For example, the marketing management and marketing analytics are really popular degrees where you really delve into marketing, but from a slightly different perspective. So either more on data or more on managing marketing. The international management is also one that I want to highlight because it's one of the only programs where we actually accept students from a different background. So if you come from something like engineering, which is really common in Turkey, you could actually apply for the international management degree, and you would be considered for that one, even if you come from a different background. Then within the field of economics and econometrics, we have a few fantastic programs as well. This is really for you math lovers out there. It follows the bachelor in econometrics. If you're good at mathematics and you like mathematics, then these could be really your take. And they each take, again, a different angle. So business analytics is more on getting data from big business and how to make predictions and how to advise the board of the company, whereas quantitative finance and actuarial science is much more on the accountancy and financial side. There's also a research master in the field of economics, as well as there's one in the business field, by the way. Another really big school, the School of Humanities and Digital Sciences, lots of options there. I actually am a graduate of the Master in Business Communication and Digital Media, and I really enjoyed that program because you get to study business communication from different angles. For example, we had a course on negotiation strategies where you really learn what's the best angle in a negotiation, but then we also had courses about social media management, and it always has this kind of academic point of view as well. So you really gain a lot of solid analytical skills. Within these fields, we also have programs in the field of philosophy, in the field of culture studies, for example, management of cultural diversity, which looks at how to write policy for places where people from a lot of different backgrounds come together. And there's also a research master in linguistics and communication sciences. Again, for this research master, there are scholarships available for top students, but it's a very selective program and it's a 2-year program. In the field of law and public administration, we have some fantastic programs. I personally really love the law and technology. I have some friends who studied that, and it's really a top-notch state-of-the-art law program where you learn how to combine all your legal knowledge that you have from your bachelor and apply it also in the current age. Think about things like self-driving cars or intellectual property rights, privacy laws, or further into the future, what if we can create a bionic brain? Is someone still a human, and are they allowed to have legal rights? It's a fascinating program, and I think it's really fitting for the times. But that's not the only one. We have lots of fantastic programs there. For example, if you're more into tax law, if you want to make a lot of money later, you can join the tax law program. The business law program is one of our most popular ones. It's a very solid program. And we also have public governance. So if you come from a background more of international relations or public administration, that could be really interesting because it's like a focus on law, but also on public administration and economics. We also have labor law, which is accessible also for people with a human resources background. Social and behavioral sciences, a whole range of programs again. Toot, toot, toot. So we've got the psychology field, and within psychology, we've got some specializations. For example, economic psychology, which looks at, why do we make certain decisions to buy something or to invest our money, or why do we buy a certain product that's on a certain shelf? So it's a bit of marketing and psychology, whereas cognitive neuropsychology is much more to do with the brain. We also have positive psychology, which we started this year, which is really cool. It doesn't deal necessarily with psychological illnesses, but more with positive psychology and the psychology of well-being. We also have a whole strand in the field of sociology, where we look more at human behavior. For example, the politics, policy, and societal development is a sociology track. Then we have the human resources. We're very strong in this field, and the researchers who work in the human resources field also publish in magazines about management and marketing. So if you're kind of in between social sciences and business, you might want to look at the human resources masters as well. And we have 2 research masters, again, also in this field, which are also 2 years in length and selective. In the data science and artificial intelligence field, we have a couple of options. The business analytics and operations research I already mentioned. It's actually a very mathematical program, which is in the field of econometrics. The cognitive science and artificial intelligence, of which we also have the bachelor, looks at, again, human-computer interaction. So there's quite a bit of computer programming, but it also looks at how we process information, how we make decisions, and things such as translation software. So you do need to have a slightly technical background, but also an interest in human cognition and psychology. The Data Science and Entrepreneurship program is the one that we have together with Eindhoven University, and that one is actually just the master is located in a different city in Den Bosch on its own campus. And it really focuses on data science in the sphere of entrepreneurship and business. It's a fantastic 2-year program where you really live on campus in a beautiful old convent. It's quite selective, but it's a really fantastic program. And again, you will receive a diploma from both campuses. And the Data Science and Society is also really interesting because this is more for people who don't have a background in data science, but want to get into data science. So this is offered within our School of Humanities and Digital Sciences. And the Data Science and Society is also accessible for people who have a background, for example, in business or in communication even. They could make that jump. So consider that if you want to make that switch to data science. Be aware there is a bit of mathematics in it and a bit of programming, but we kind of build you up from the start. And finally, our theology has a master in Christianity and society. So focus on theology, but specifically Christian theology. Now, I want to highlight that for some of our programs, we have a double degree option where you can do an extra master program or you can kind of do an extra semester abroad. This is mostly in the field of social and behavioral sciences, and it will be listed on our website with every specific program if that's the case. In some cases, you have to actually apply for the other university first. So do your research if you really want to do a double degree. Then we have the extended master where you add 6 months to your degree and you can gain some international experience. During those 6 months, you can spend some time at another university doing a research project or following courses there. And you also receive extra coaching and skills workshops. You can apply for the extended master after you have started in Tilburg. So you'll receive a presentation in September somewhere where they explain how to apply for it. And it is a selective program. This is available for students of the School of Economics and Management, School of Social and Behavioral Sciences, and the Master Public Governance. So it's not available for all of our programs, but for a large section of them. And finally, our School of Economics and Management is part of the QTEM network, which is a network of schools that do highly quantitative research methods, where again, you can do an internship and study program abroad. Again, you can be selected for that once you're in Tilburg. Now, what happens after graduation? After graduation, you can get a 1-year visa with which you can look for a job in the Netherlands. So during that time, the employer doesn't have to apply for a work visa for you. So that really opens up the labor market to you. It does depend on what you have studied, how easy it is to find a job, but there are some possibilities for sure. In general, our international graduates have a job within about 3 months after graduation. And I do recommend to consider those options like the extended master or maybe writing your thesis for a multinational, because that way you can really get some foot in the door with a company already. Also, make sure you make use of the services of our career center. And at the bottom, you see some logos flying by. These are some companies that have hired our students just to give you some inspiration. Now, I want to talk about admission and application. We do accept the Turkish diploma since recently. We do look for a specific overall GPA, so that's important. And we do favor the top schools that we are familiar with from Istanbul, Izmir, and Ankara. But if you don't come from one of those schools and you come from a Turkish high school, we will also consider your application. So please do feel free to submit your application if you're interested in a bachelor. But keep in mind that we do have these GPA requirements. So feel free to take a screenshot of this slide. We also accept the IB diploma, which I know a lot of students in Turkey also follow. Again, there are some math requirements in place in case you're interested in business, economics, or econometrics. I know some Turkish schools also offer the AP curriculum. If you are able to take AP courses, that's always a plus. So have a look at that as well in case you come from that background. I'm not going to stay on this too long because I could talk about it for hours, but it's pretty self-explanatory. These are our English language requirements for the bachelor. They're also very clearly printed on our website. For the master, it requires a little bit more explanation because in order to qualify for a master, you need to have a bachelor in a similar field. Because our masters are only 1 year in length, they are really meant as a specialization. So that sometimes surprises students, and especially with Turkey, sometimes it can be a bit of an issue. Because students tend to have a background in engineering and then they want to suddenly switch to social sciences or economics. I got a message that my connection glitched, but I think I'm back. Otherwise, yeah, okay, let me know. As I said, I highlighted already with some of our master programs that there are some opportunities. For example, the Master in International Management, the Master in Public Governance, the Master Data Science in Society. And there's also Organization Studies and Human Resources within the School of Social and Behavioral Sciences. So those masters are a bit more flexible to take people from different backgrounds. I've also listed the IELTS requirements on this slide. You can again also find those on our website. And it is important to note that for our programs of the School of Economics and Management, we require a GMAT or GRE. Indeed, if you come from one of our partners, but it has to be the same faculty, then you don't have to take these. But the majority of students will have to take either a GRE or a GMAT. What's nice to know about this is that it really applies only for the masters in business and in economics, meaning that if you're applying for human resources or organization studies, you actually do not have to take a GMAT or GRE. In addition, I want to highlight that for our research master, they are highly selective and the requirements are higher. They are set by the schools themselves. So if you're interested in the research master, keep in mind that that is a little bit higher overall. How to apply? It's fairly simple. We have a national registration system called StudyLink where you have to create an account and this account stays with you for life. So make sure you remember the login details. On top of that, we then have our own application system where you have to upload all the documents. We are actually switching to a new system called Osiris and the connection is not fully working yet, but we hope to have it operational within a few weeks. I see people frozen, so I'm wondering if you can still hear me. Yeah, okay, good. Just wanted to check. But our partner who's present here today, Berg, can also help you with that. Keep an eye on the deadlines. For the February intake, the deadline has just passed. So unfortunately, you are too late for that. If you really, really want to start in September or in February 2021, then you have to get in touch really quickly, but I cannot promise you that your application will still be considered. But for September, you have plenty of time because our deadlines are all in the spring. However, if you're applying for a psychology bachelor, make sure you are in StudyLink by January 15th. That's a very important point. Sorry, guys, there's a lot to cover, but we're almost at the end. I see I've been talking for quite a while. So I just want to show you our tuition fees. As I said, the tuition fees are not for profit. I can imagine that it sounds like a really astronomical amount, but I promise you we are not making any profits on this. It's just to make sure we have all the facilities and the professors in place. For most of the bachelors, it's about 9,000 euros per year. And for the masters, it's about 14,500 euros per year. As the masters are generally only 1 year in length, of course, that's also some cost saving there. And in terms of your cost of living, most students manage with somewhere around 700 to 900 euros per month. I don't know if that's accurate, Elida. Can you attest to that?
Yeah, that's actually pretty accurate. It also depends a lot on the rent that you pay, but other than that, you can live very comfortably for even, I would say, 300, 350 besides rent. You can live very comfortably.
So you do most of the cooking yourself, probably?
Yeah, most of the cooking myself, and I try to save money by, shopping at bonuses and all the. Yeah.
That's cool. That's smart. Well, and maybe also good for you guys to know, of course, the closer you get to Amsterdam, the more expensive everything is. So in Tilburg, it's relatively affordable. I also want to talk about scholarships, which of course are very important. Most of the scholarship money, I have to warn you, is for the master students. So at the bachelor level, there's very limited scholarship funding available. Our School of Economics and Management usually gives a few partial scholarships, but they decide that every year. That's the most that is available at bachelor level. At the master level, there is some scholarship money available, and there are a few options, and we have a very comprehensive website, tilburguniversity.edu/scholarships, where this is all listed. I do have to mention, because I almost forgot it, if you happen to have a European passport, you actually get a discount on your tuition fee. So students with an EU nationality can pay the subsidized fee, which is about 2,200 euros per year. So for those of you who are lucky enough to have a Dutch, German, Greek, Hungarian, Spanish passports, you can benefit from that. We also talked about the 25% tuition fee waiver for partners. So if you come from one of our partner institutions, which you can see here on the slide, you will actually receive a 25% discount on your master. So if you've done your bachelor at one of our partner universities, you will receive a 25% discount on your master. So I think that's very attractive. And in addition, if you are applying for the School of Economics and Management, you do not have to take a GMAT or GRE test if you come from one of these partners. So this is something that is very useful for you to know. These partners are also listed on our scholarship website. You just have to click on a little bit. So go to non-EEA students and then click on partner scholarships plus the one for the school that you're interested in. And then you'll see these partners. So please be aware it has to be a partner of the same school. So if you come from Sabancı University and you want to go to Economics and Management, it's unfortunately a mismatch in faculty. So keep that in mind. That brings us to the end. Yeah, I see that some people want to say something, so I just want to highlight quickly how you can meet us. You can create your own online brochure by going to tilburguniversity.edu/mybrochure. It creates a little PDF with information about that particular program, so I really encourage you to do that. And also you can meet us at our open day. Our virtual open day for the bachelor is October 31st. For the master, it's November 14. The information is available on our website. I posted the bachelor link because I didn't have a short link for the master, but you guys are all smart. So you can find that link on our website for sure. And now I'm going to give the floor to Berk because I need to drink a cup of tea.
Okay, so I've been answering a lot of questions. Just a quick one that I've been dealing with a lot, and thank you, by the way, Elida, for helping me with some of the questions. Most of the students, most of the master's candidates ask about the scholarship, and also most of the candidates are asking about their eligibility in terms of their academic prerequisites. So this means if you study, for example, in another discipline than business, but you want to go to a business master, or if you studied in another engineering background and you want to go to a data science master, we have to check your transcript, because Tilburg University usually, other than some of the programs such as international management, they do not accept students from other disciplines very much. But sometimes if you are close to the area that you want to study in, you may get a pre-master acceptance, which means that you may have some time to complete your missing credits, and then you can pass to the master's program. And this is not really expensive. I had some students this year who paid like 3,000, 4,000 euros for a pre-master program and then proceeded to their master's degree. So the best thing you can do is that you can send me an email with your transcript and CV, so that we can see, and your inquiry, of course, what program are you looking for, and we can check if you're eligible to get into this program, or should you apply or not, or should you apply to another program rather than the one you want. And I'm going to share you my details, my email and my mobile phone number. And please note that, and I'm going to say this in Turkish as well, our company, ISES Turkey, is providing a free of charge service for the students who are wishing to apply to Tilburg University's bachelor's or master's program. So you don't have to pay any consultancy or service fee to ISES Turkey if you want to go to Tilburg University's any study area. Türkçe'ye dönmek gerekirse son olarak az sonra iletişim bilgilerimi paylaşıyorum. E-mail adresim ve WhatsApp numaraları. Kendi WhatsApp numaramı, bir de akademik koordinatör arkadaşım Didem Hanım'ın WhatsApp'ını paylaşacağım. Çünkü yoğunluğu biraz bölmeye çalışıyoruz. Tilburg Üniversitesi'nde yapacağınız lisans ve master program başvurularında firmamıza herhangi bir ödeme yapmamız gerekmiyor. Üniversite tarafından yetkilendirilmiş bir acente olduğumuz için Sizlere herhangi bir finansal yansıttığımız bir bedel yok. Başvurularınız için uygunluk var mı yok mu kısmını da iletişim bilgileriyle mutlaka mümkünse transkriptinizi göndererek bana mail atarak teyit ederseniz öncelikle bunun uygunluğunu teyit edip daha sonra başvurularınıza seve seve yardımcı olmak isteriz diyelim ve I yield the floor back to you once again.
I wanted to ask if you want to share your screen, Berk, because I can unshare, and if you have anything you want to show in terms of email address, or if you want to post it in the chat, then I can unshare.
Well, I don't have anything to show on my screen, but I just wrote something to the chat section. If you can see the chat section, you will see my email address and the WhatsApp information for me and Didem, my partner here in Istanbul, so that you can just send us WhatsApp messages and also send us emails in order to check whether you're eligible to your inquiry program or any of the programs you're looking for. Any of the questions, scholarships, applications, and also about living issues. I think İlayda can also help you regarding your questions about accommodation and maybe the living expenses, etc.
All right, thank you so much. I see that we're getting close to time, so I'm going to ask our organizer, Burçe, if we need to wrap up. Otherwise, yeah, go ahead.
We can have some additional time, but as I'm saying on the questions tab, there are some missing questions. Maybe you would like to answer them as verbally.
Yes, that's fine, because I was really not able to keep track of it while talking. So maybe we can lift out some of the frequently asked questions and we can ask the panel to answer them. Don't know if Berk or İlayda, you spotted something that you thought, that needs to be asked.
Well, I check the questions usually. I try to answer as much as I can, but there are some questions about the postdoc and doctoral programs, which I have no idea about. So maybe you can help them with those questions.
Well,
but I think I answered almost all of the questions, rather than internship and the doctoral program questions. And there are also some scholarship questions which you answered in your presentation. So I don't think we're missing anything, other than the doctorate programs.
Okay, perfect. So Tilburg University does have PhD students. We have quite a lot every year. A lot of students progress from a research master into a PhD, but a PhD in the Netherlands is usually funded, meaning it's kind of like a job. So you have to apply for it, and it's quite selective. So you can apply for it as an external candidate, but of course, if you do the research master in Tilburg, it's easier to be accepted for that. So we do recommend to explore the research masters if you're interested in a PhD. And you can also look at the PhD programs on, for example, Academic Transfer. That's a website where jobs are posted when we're looking for new PhD candidates. If you want to just submit an open proposal, that's very welcome as well. We don't actively recruit for these because it's kind of like a job labor market kind of thing, but you're very welcome to explore those and apply for them. In terms of postdoc, that's even more, it's like a job. So you just have to look at the job postings on our website. Yeah. I think at Tilburg University website, we used to have a section that says come work here or something, and then the vacancies would be listed there. İlayda, are there any questions you spotted that we should answer or that you want to answer live?
I think most of the questions that haven't been answered down below are also answered in your slides. So I think we are good, but there is a new question that says if there are any 2-year degree programs. I'm guessing it's for the masters.
Well, there are a few 2-year master programs, but in general, for some programs, 1 year is just the standard. So it should be recognized internationally because that's just the way it's done in the Netherlands. So don't get too hung up on the duration, but look at the level of the master, I would say. But if you're really set on doing a 2-year master, look at the masters in technology or the one in cognitive science, artificial intelligence, or the research masters. Those are 2 years in length. And Edda is asking, is it possible to practice law in the Netherlands with a master degree from Tilburg University? This will be difficult because basically our master degrees in law are international law degrees. So they are there to enrich your background in law, and it can really make you stand out in the Turkish labor market, but they don't include Dutch law. So if you want to practice law in the Netherlands, you always have to really become an expert in Dutch law. Normally students have to do a bachelor, a master, and an internship, but if you come from a law background, you might be able to do a condensed program, but you would also have to know the language because our law texts are written in Dutch. So that transition is not super easy. Shall we?
Yes, you covered almost all of them, I think. So actually we received many questions, and there was a very good collaboration in the background, so most of them answered. Thank you very much. It was very great presentation, and it was very informative. Also, very nice to welcome you at the FT Talks webinar. I would like to thank you all of you. Sorry. So, is there anything you would like to add? You would like to share with the participants before we say goodbye?
I think I'm good. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate all your questions and your interaction. It's fantastic. I really am sad that I cannot travel to Turkey this year because I miss the food and the culture. But it's nice to see that you are interacting on here. So çok teşekkürler.
There's just one last question in the questions tab. Maybe you would like to answer.
Tilburg University works with 2 semesters for most of our programs, but our School of Social and Behavioral Sciences uses 4 blocks. So it depends on the program.
Okay, that's great. Thank you again. Thank you very much, Berk, İlayda, and very nice.
Teşekkür ederim.
Teşekkürler.
Görüşmek üzere.
Have a good day. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.